Was Buford Pusser's Plymouth Fury 1, the car he drove to the state line on August 12, 1967, a missing piece of evidence, or the smoking gun that could have unraveled his entire story? Why did this critical vehicle seem to vanish so quickly after the alleged ambush? Did Buford realize that investigators might eventually analyze the bullet strikes and trajectories, only to discover that they didn't match his claim that the shots came from a shooter sitting in the passenger's front seat of a stationary Cadillac parked just feet away? Could the car itself have exposed the truth? Why is the TBI still interested in locating that very vehicle today, and in its absence, even searching for an identical model to examine? Here's Mike to explain.
I'd like to welcome everybody back to Buford Pusser, The Other Story, and today we have a really great episode, a special guest that you've never seen before, someone who helped both me and the TBI out. Now, as many of you know, I've been working on investigating Pauline Pusser's murder for a long time. Compiled a lot of information, and I have a Facebook page, Buford Pusser, The Other Story. And through the years, I've used that Facebook page as a fishing hole to gather information about Pauline's murder. And finally, one day I did have an individual contact me that said that he might have the gun that was used to kill Pauline. So I went over, checked it out. Making a long story short, I contacted the TBI, and this gentleman was kind enough to surrender the gun to them for their inspection and testing. And shortly afterwards, I got a call again from the TBI where they were asking if I had other information I could share. And I told them anything I had would, be fine. And so, I have sent them a list of people that I didn't think were interviewed back in the original investigation, some recordings of some of the interviews that I've done over the years, many things. But later they contacted me again wanting to know if I had any information on Buford's Plymouth Fury 1. They wanted to know if I knew of another car like it. Well, I knew of one in Montana, one in Minnesota. And when I put out the word that I was looking for a vehicle like this, I had one individual that responded in a very positive way. And there's a little story behind that we'll tell. And for all those people out there that are saying, oh, there's nothing new in this investigation, if the TBI has done what I suspect that they have done, you're going to be amazed by this. Because like I say, it is Star Wars type technology, especially back in my day when you didn't even dream of these things. So let's get on with the program. And my special guest, Tim Valentine. Tim, welcome to the program. Glad you're here.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. Tell us a little bit about where you live and about your car.
I live in Canton, Georgia, which is north of Atlanta. I purchased this car from a friend about 8 years ago, and he purchased it from a man who got it from the estate of a man named Ernest Hill, who was a Georgia Bureau of Investigation car agent. And I did a mechanical on it. It's a 1967 Fury 1. It's basically the same car as the ambush car. It's just it's a K code, so it's a real police car.
Yeah, I understand that you found some of Hill's personal papers in the car when you got it.
I did. The trunk was full of stuff. And I tried to reach out to his family to, give this stuff back to him, some of the paperwork, and I haven't got back, any back from them.
Maybe I can help you with that a little later.
Okay.
Now, of course, the backstory to all this is that the TBI contacted me. I wanted to know if I knew anything about the whereabouts of the ambush car, the one that Buford and Pauline were actually in that morning. And I told them I'd heard 3 stories, one being that it was sold to a gentleman in Louisiana and that there was no VIN number, so I couldn't trace it beyond that. Then I heard that it was Buford had it buried near Crump, there in Tennessee, not far from Adamsville. But then I talked to some of Rod Province's relatives, and of course they said that he and Rod were good friends, and that Buford contacted him, said he'd taken the car out of commission there at the sheriff's office and wanted to store it out there at Rod's location. So Rod got the permission of the guy that owned the property next to his and asked him if he could park it there. And I was told that it was there for some time. But then they took the engine, the transmission, everything out of it, and took the body down to Selmer Salvage and had it crushed. And of course, when I contacted one of the people that had worked there at one time, I was told that he had said that they didn't keep VIN numbers back then, that the state didn't require it. So there was no record that it actually ended up there. So we don't know. Well, then they asked if I knew of a car that was similar to his, and I told them I knew of two or three, one being in Montana. I think the other one was in Minnesota. And then, of course, I'd run on to yours through my Facebook page, my fishing hole, if you will. I was a little bit deceitful at first with you because I wasn't sure exactly what your position was on the Pusser story. And, you know, a lot of people, this goes both ways. Some are really positive about helping and some don't want to help at all. So if I recall, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I told you that I might be interested in buying the car from you, but that I lived out of state and I'd have to send a couple of representatives down to check it out for me. And you told me that was fine. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And then I leveled with you and said, look, I know that the TBI is looking for this car, and I was wondering if they could possibly get a look at it because they're wanting to see one just like his. And, of course, you responded in a positive way, said send them on down. Well, you tell me what the next thing that happened was.
Well, I received a call from an agent, and I believe he was retiring, and he referred me to another one. Called me. He said another guy would call me. So he called me, and then they set up an appointment, and they sent some contractors that had this elaborate equipment to measure the car for exact measurements. They flew in from Atlanta and got a rental car, and they measured my car in my shop.
Can you tell me something about what all they did, how they set the camera up, how long it took to do the exterior?
Well, it took about 3 hours total. They measured both sides, front and back. They actually put one inside and measured all the inside too. And it took right at 3 hours.
Did they explain what they would probably or possibly do with all this information?
Well, they were limited what they could tell me, but what they were doing was all that information they would give to the computer techs, and he said that the doors would open, the wheels would turn, doors, you know, it would be a working AI car, basically is what they did, made an AI car out of it.
Yeah. With the software and the technology they have now, they can take all those measurements, make an exact replica on screen with the computer software that we have today. They didn't have back then. I'm not an expert on this. I have to contact the experts a lot of times to find out what the process is, but it's my understanding that they can then actually recreate pretty much what the ambush would have been like. And that is probably what the TBI wanted to do with the car. Of course, you and I spoke a little bit later, and you confirmed that they had indeed been by there and scanned your car.
Yeah, they came by, and like I say, they couldn't tell me a great deal because I don't know if these guys had any information. They were basically techs, you know.
Computer geeks.
Well, they were the camera guys, so I don't know. What you tell me what that camera was, what it was, that measurement device was called.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But at any rate, then you left and you hadn't heard anything more.
No, and then I saw. I've been watching yours, what you been listening to your podcast, and other than that, I've heard nothing back from them.
Well, hopefully all this will work out to where some of this stuff may be in the TBI file. And, you're to be congratulated for stepping up and doing the right thing, because I know a lot of people would not have done that. You're one of several people that I spoke with while I was gathering information and trying to make a case that Buford probably killed Pauline. And several people, just like yourself, agreed to give a hand, share some things that they knew, some things that they had, whatever. And so a lot of people say, well, it's just Elam out here trying to do all this stuff. Well, no, it's not. It's people like you and several others that came forward. I'm just kind of the guy that gathered the information and put it all in one place and tried to make sense out of it all. But at any rate, on August 29th, they had a press conference, and with all the information that they did get, they said it was most likely that Buford was the person that murdered Pauline. And that file will be released soon. And, it's going to be an interesting read. I learned a lot just from a 4-page statement that I got a hold of, and from the imaging that they did for Pauline's autopsy and the autopsy report. So far, that's the only thing I've seen out there. But, it disagrees with Buford's story in so many ways, in that he would tell the media one thing and tell TBI investigators something completely different. For instance, with that car, he said he parked on the right side of the road, that he didn't know that they were anywhere around when they pulled up, stopped on the left side of the road, saying that there was enough room between those two cars for a third car to possibly gone in between them. Well, all I had to work with was the media reports. And so I assumed that when he said that he reached out and grabbed the barrel of the gun, that they were sitting close enough that he could just reach out there and grab it. But when you read his statement, it's totally different. He said that he had to get out of the car and lunge across the road, grab the barrel of the gun. And in the process, he was yelling at the driver, "Get out of here, get out of here." And that the driver actually had to start the engine of the car again to take off. And that's when he lost the grip to the gun. And that entire ambush, as he explained it, is so different than what we have read in newspapers and magazines that he would tell all of them. And it is entirely different from what we saw in the movie Walking Tall. A lot of people think that movie was almost like a documentary, that it told the real story, and it was far from it. Did you get a chance to see Walking Tall?
I've watched them all, and as a kid, you're like, he was a hero, cleaning up some bad guys as a kid, Oh yeah, I watched them.
Oh yeah. And, in the movie, they had the ambush taking place during daylight hours when it was actually dark. Just so many things that are heading at the second ambush site, leaping over an embankment and landing out in the middle of a field, where he got out of the car and went around and drug Pauline out of the car. She was in the floorboard. But in his statement, he says that she was in the seat and he pulled her over. And when he got shot, he fell on top of her. Neither of them were in the floorboard. But also, like in the statement he made to the media, he said that he fell to the floorboard himself. And that's probably what saved his life. Would you think a man that size could fall between the seat and the floorboard?
Well, if he did, he probably couldn't get out of it. That'd have been a mean lick.
I just can't imagine a person as tall and as weighing what he did, around 250
Plus
pounds.
the radio equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of equipment in that car.
Well, then you had her legs that would have should have been down in that part of the floorboard. So I don't know why I told two different stories to two different groups, one to the TBI and yet another to the media. And then, of course, there's the walking tall version. So, well, Tim, you have joined a group of people that stepped forward and participated and contributed to the investigation, I imagine. So I want to congratulate you for doing that and just say thanks.
Well, you're welcome. And it could have proved him innocent too. So,
Yeah,
it could have went either way.
sure. And that's what the whole thing was about. Like you, I was a fan of his back in the day.
Yeah. Always, you had, as a kid, you had the cars, the bad guys, and the good cop. So
I've always figured since I really got into this that, Buford started out building his legend, and this just became a part of it. So again, I just wanted to say, hey, thanks for helping out. You did me a favor. You did the TBI a favor. So,
well, I'm glad
they will thank you at some point.
Well, he said he would get back with me. We'll see.
All right. Hey, Tim, appreciate you being here, and we'll let it go with that.
All right. Good talking to you, Mike.
Good talking to you.
All right.
Tim Valentine is another one of those people who stepped forward, helped with an investigation, and so he's like many others. He just wanted to know the truth. And, as he pointed out, and very correctly so, this device could help prove Buford either guilty or innocent in the murder of Pauline Pusser. And like many others, I wish that it proved him innocent. He was a hero of mine. But with everything I do, I have to look at the evidence. I have to follow it. So I don't think this helped him out any. Hopefully we'll see what the TBI has done with all this footage, and we'll know more. We're going to let it go with that for today. And just remember, truth has no agenda. Thanks for watching. And we finally got justice for Pauline.